This video is the fourth and last of the government intervention series, and it will focus on price floors or minimum prices. In the video, I'm going to explain why governments impose price floors. I'm going to show it on a diagram as well, and then I will discuss the consequences on the market outcomes as well as the different stakeholders involved. So what is a price floor? Well, basically it is a minimum price that the government sets by law above equilibrium. It's called the price floor because you can't really go below a floor. So why do governments impose price floors? Well, basically it's usually one of two reasons. Either to raise the incomes of producers of goods and services that the government believes are quite important, like agricultural products. These producers could be unable to face foreign competition, or they are affected by lots of price fluctuations. And so to raise their incomes and protect their incomes, the government imposes a minimum price or a price floor. Another reason could be to protect workers by maybe setting a minimum wage. A minimum wage is an example of a price floor because that's a minimum price that you have to pay for employing the worker that you cannot pay them below. So it is a price floor. These are the two main reasons. So let's have a look at the market for wheat as an example. So this is the market for wheat farmers. And if it was left to equilibrium, this would be the equilibrium point right here. The equilibrium price would be PE. The equilibrium quantity would be QE. This area shaded in green would be the consumer surplus if the market was left to reach equilibrium. And this area shaded in yellow would be the producer surplus. Now let's see what happens when the price floor is introduced. So now the price floor has been introduced. It is this purple line here. As you can see, at this price floor, the quantity demanded will be that point on the demand curve here, so QD minimum with that minimum price. And the quantity supplied would be QS minimum, that point here. As you can see, quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded, so we have a surplus, we have excess supply. We will see in the diagram that the consumer surplus has decreased as a result of the price floor. It is that green triangle here. That's the consumer surplus after imposing the price floor. And you will see that the producer surplus has increased. So the producer surplus after imposing the price floor has increased, and it is that big triangle here under the price floor. So there's been a decrease in consumer surplus and an increase in producer surplus because of the price floor. And there's also a situation of excess supply. There's a situation of a surplus because the farmers now are being paid an artificially high price for their product. So there's more wheat being farmed than what there actually is demand. So what happens with this surplus? So the government basically has to interfere in the market yet again and buy this surplus or this excess supply due to the price floor being set for the wheat market. This area shaded in purple, this purple rectangle here, is how much the government will spend to buy that surplus production. So there's all this wheat being farmed that no one's buying. There's actually no demand for it. It's artificial. The government goes in and buys this surplus. So this can be quite wasteful. And what's the point of farming all of this wheat if there isn't actually demand? So the price floor sets an artificially high price that doesn't truly reflect what the market needs. So let's discuss some of the consequences. We've seen that price floors or minimum prices cause surpluses, and there's a situation of excess supply. This is an inefficient allocation of resources. There's over-allocation of resources to the production of this good or service because of the artificial price ceiling. It also leads to a deadweight loss, so welfare impact. All of this money that the government is spending to buy that surplus or that excess supply, that's money that could be used in something else. So there's also an opportunity cost because this money could be used to fund other government projects and other government spending. Price floors also encourage businesses to be quite inefficient because it's really giving them easy money that they don't have to be efficient or be competitive or work hard for. So the government buys this surplus, as we mentioned earlier. Now, what sort of measures can the government take to dispose of this surplus? Because now, in the example that I gave, the market for wheat, for example, the government buys all this wheat. Well, the government can either store it, and that costs a lot of money. Storage costs money. Or destroy it, which can be seen as very wasteful. Destroying all of these agricultural products just because there's a surplus. It seems very wasteful, especially when there's famine and hunger in other parts of the world. Or previous governments have tried to sell it abroad, but this has caused other governments to feel quite threatened because then their local producers can face competition So whatever course of action the government takes, there's always an opportunity cost. And this is, again, another problem with price controls, like price ceilings and price floors. The government will interfere to try to fix the market or try to fix whatever mess it created in the first place by imposing that price floor or that price ceiling. And it always leads to opportunity cost if any money is being spent or any time or effort. This is money or time or effort that could be invested in other government projects. So there's always an opportunity cost. Setting a minimum wage for workers will work the same way. So basically, if the market was left to equilibrium, this would be the price of employing a worker, and this would be the quantity of workers that are employed or the number of jobs that are available, because the market would reach equilibrium. But by setting a price floor, which is again this purple line here, now you have a surplus. You have an excess supply of workers, but there aren't enough jobs or there aren't enough businesses willing to employ them. So you actually create a situation of unemployment because this is the quantity of workers that businesses are demanding, the businesses are willing to employ, and this is the quantity supplied of labor or the quantity supplied of workers. So you have a situation of surplus labor and not enough jobs. You have a situation, you've created this artificial unemployment by setting that minimum wage.